The story begins with our main character waking up in complete darkness. He is extremely confused and doesn't understand where he is. There is only darkness all around. He can't see anything and his mind goes completely blank. He begins to wonder why all this is happening to him. After some time, he notices a very faint light in front of him. This light gradually brightens. As the light increases, he realizes that this light is coming from inside an eggshell. A small part of the shell is broken. Through this broken part, he is able to see the outside world. He peeks outside and realizes that he is in a forest. There are tall trees all around and there is silence all around. This increases his confusion even more. He also feels that he is unable to move his body at all. He is completely stuck. Suddenly, a status screen appears before him, just like a game system. When he reads it, he's shocked because it clearly states that it's a dragon egg. This completely blows his mind. He thinks this can't be a joke. Then his stat window fully opens. Then, a divine voice is heard. The voice tells him that this window displays all his abilities and their numerical values, making everything easier to understand. Yet, he remains completely confused. He tries to talk to the divine voice. Angrily, he asks what's happening to him, but the divine voice calmly replies that he's still at level 1, so a full explanation can't be given. Hearing this, his frustration increases even more. He shakes his body slightly in anger. But this causes him to fall from the tree he was on. As soon as he hits the ground, he begins to roll. He continues rolling uncontrollably downhill. He can't stop himself for a long time. Finally, he stops near a river and tries to relax for a while. He sees his reflection in the river water. When he looks closely, he's shocked to see that he's actually a dragon egg. Seeing this, he finally believes it's all real. Seeing his condition, the divine voice softens a bit. She finally gives him a proper explanation. She tells him that it's indeed a dragon egg. In this world, a dragon egg is considered an F-rank monster. He's told that if its shell breaks completely, he'll die instantly. Meaning, even the small hole he created was a huge risk. The divine voice further explains that Dragon X is at the bottom of the food chain. However, it also states that if he survives, he could become a powerful dragon in the future. The problem is that Dragon X is a favorite food for many monsters. And because Dragon X doesn't have legs, it can't walk, it can only move by rolling. Even after knowing all this, he can't fully accept the situation. He decides that staying in one place is dangerous, so he starts rolling at full speed. But this decision also proves dangerous for him. While rolling, he falls down at a small clip. The system immediately announces that his fall resistance has increased from level 1 to level 2. However, the fall has reduced his HP. This reminds him not to be too careless. Feeling tired and injured, he decides to sleep. When he wakes up, his HP is fully restored. This confirms that sleeping fully refills his health. This brings him some relief. Afterward, he begins rolling again. As he walks, he wonders what will happen when he hatches. Will he become a massive dragon in the future? Will he have to fight battles every day? Lost in these thoughts, he suddenly stops. He sees a giant insect in front of him. Sensing danger, he immediately hides behind a tree and uses his appreciation skill without delay. The result shows that the monster is an egg-eater. The name itself suggests that it is a dragon egg-eating monster. As soon as the insect notices him, it attacks him without stopping. It rolls at full speed and starts running, but it knows it won't survive for long. While running, it reaches the edge of a cliff. Just as the insect jumps to swallow him, he dodges at the last moment. With all his might, he hits the monster and pushes it off the cliff. The monster falls to its death. This is the first victory of his life. The system announces that he has gained 12 experience points and reached level 5. Upon leveling up, all his stats are maxed out. He also gets the option to evolve. He can choose between a baby dragon or a little dragon. He doesn't know the difference. So the system explains to him, a little dragon is a dwarf-type dragon smaller than other dragons. However, when fully grown, it is larger than a bear, and its fire breath is considered very powerful. Regarding the baby dragon, the system explains that it is not well suited for fighting. Its claws and fangs are small. Therefore, it is considered weak in direct battle. However, it holds immense potential. It can evolve into many different dragon species in the future. Naturally, baby dragons are considered a highly prized delicacy among both monsters and adventurers. This means that wherever a baby dragon is seen, it is immediately hunted. Hearing this, our boy begins to understand the seriousness of the situation. Initially, he chooses the little dragon because it seems the safer option in terms of survival. But immediately after making his choice, the divine voice comes to him. She takes him in her arms and tells him not to limit himself. The divine voice explains that she has very high expectations for him and wants him to always achieve the highest standards. Hearing this, he becomes even more confused. He begins to wonder if the divine voice said this because he had chosen the little dragon as the safest option and had ignored the baby dragon out of fear of taking risks. He remembers the system's advice. It had told him that the baby dragon had immeasurable potential and could evolve into many forms in the future. This raises a doubt in his mind that perhaps the little dragon, after evolving to a certain limit, could not progress further, or perhaps it could not evolve at all after a certain point. Thinking about this, he asks himself whether he will regret it later. Will he think in the future that he held himself back because of fear? He realizes that he doesn't want to regret it. Ultimately, he decides to choose the baby dragon. Even though this path is risky, he doesn't want to look back and think he made the wrong choice. The system accepts his decision and his wish is immediately granted. In the next moment, his body begins to change. He slowly evolves into a yellow baby dragon exactly like the one he chose. With the evolution, he gains many new skills. All his old stats also receive a significant boost, but there's still one problem. Even after evolving, his HP and MP don't refill. This means he's exhausted and needs proper rest before he can proceed. As soon as he realizes this, his stomach grumbles loudly. This is a clear signal that he needs to eat something quickly. He looks at the worm lying nearby that he defeated earlier. Surprisingly, he now finds it delicious. He understands that protein is essential for becoming strong, and with this thought, his dragon instincts are fully activated. Without much thought, he devoured the worm. After eating, he lies down and falls into a deep sleep. The next morning, when he wakes up, he feels energized and refreshed. A proper rest has dispelled all his fatigue. He goes to the river and looks at his reflection. It's there that he fully accepts that he has reincarnated into this world. But something seems very strange to him. He can't remember any memories of his past life. He doesn't know who he was before, nor what kind of life he lived. He doesn't even remember whether he was a boy or a girl. Lost in these thoughts, he suddenly turns back and sees several dark worms standing behind him. This time, he doesn't run away, but charges straight at them. Using his new skills, he eliminates the first wave in no time. As he defeats more worms, he unlocks new skills, making the battle even easier and faster. After eliminating all the worms, he feels hungry again. But he doesn't want to eat dark worms because they tasted so bad last time. He sees mushrooms nearby and decides to try them, but this decision proves to be very wrong. Soon, he realizes that mushrooms are poisonous. The consequences that follow teach him a powerful lesson. He decides never to eat random mushrooms again. He then ventures deeper into the forest, not wanting to survive solely on dark worms. After exploring for a while, he spots a gray wolf. The wolf is larger than him, but he's not afraid. He defeats the wolf using baby breath and dragon punch. The fire burns the wolf's skin slightly. When he smells it, he smells a barbecue-like aroma. Out of curiosity, he grills the wolf further. When he takes a final bite, he finds the taste amazing. He then meets another gray wolf and defeats it almost instantly, raising his level to level 20. While Max is at level 25, he realizes he only needs 5 more levels to evolve again. After killing Wolf, he grills him as before and gradually realizes that living as a dragon is becoming normal. Hunting, fighting, and eating are becoming a part of his daily life. But despite his strength, he begins to feel lonely. He has no one to talk to except the divine voice. This situation becomes boring to him, and he wishes he had a best friend. His wish is quickly fulfilled when shortly after he hears voices from somewhere far away. The problem is that he cannot understand the language. He cannot understand what they are saying. Nevertheless, hearing those voices brings him great relief because he clearly understands that these voices are human. Realizing this, he quickly hides behind a nearby tree and carefully peeks out. He sees a small group of adventurers slowly approaching him. At first, he considers going out and trying to talk to them, but then he remembers that he is a dragon. This makes him doubt whether they will attack him as soon as they see him. Then he convinces himself that he's still small, harmless, and even a little cute. He even thinks they might keep him as a pet. He comes out from behind a tree and stands in front of them. He tries his best to appear cute and non-threatening, but his plan fails completely. The adventurers don't find him cute at all. In their eyes, he's just prey and valuable meat. Without a second thought, the group leader stabs him in the chest with his sword. The next moment, the man uses magic, causing his entire body to become numb, making proper movement impossible. He tries to run, but his body refuses to obey. The numbing effect causes him to collapse to the ground. He lies there helplessly, watching the adventurers slowly approach him. Their faces clearly indicate they're about to kill him. At that very moment, he realizes what a huge mistake he's made, thinking a dragon could be a friend to humans. After surviving so much, after working so hard to evolve, everything seems to end here, and that too with a meaningless death. Just as the leader raises his weapon and is about to deliver the finishing blow, a female adventurer intervenes. She stops the leader and says there's no need to kill such a small, cute, and innocent dragon. He's confused as to how it's still alive. After a few seconds, he feels a warm sensation in his body. When he looks up, he realizes the female adventurer is using healing magic. He immediately uses his appraisal skill and discovers her name is Maria. Her MP is very low. Still, she chooses to heal him. Maria continues talking to him, and after a while the system announces that he has gained the Greek language skill. Now if he levels up, he will be able to understand human language better, but this peaceful moment doesn't last long. Suddenly, loud screams are heard from somewhere ahead. Maria immediately recognizes the voices as belonging to her comrades, and without thinking, runs to help them. Before she can leave, he grabs Maria's hand and signals her to stop. He tries to warn her that there is too much danger ahead and she won't be able to handle it alone. But Maria frees his hand and runs, leaving him behind. He realizes that he can't stand there and do anything. The girl who saved his life is in danger. Gathering courage, he forces himself to move and runs after Maria. When he arrives, his fear intensifies as he sees the monster. It's a rock dragon, a C-rank monster. The situation is made worse by the fact that it has 197 GP, meaning it requires a lot of damage to defeat. Maria is already injured, and when he calls out her name, the rock dragon's attention shifts to him. Seeing such a large monster staring at him, he freezes in fear. His heart starts pounding. Then the dragon sees him and looks straight at him. The protagonist is completely terrified. He somehow avoids an attack and hides behind the bushes. He knows that if the dragon comes near him now, he will be in danger. He sees that Maria is still alive, but the dragon has seen him too and is advancing towards him. At that very moment, the divine voice speaks and tells him to run because if he stops, he will die. The protagonist already knows this because he doesn't yet have any skills or powers to defeat the dragon. He believes the divine voice is right, but then he remembers how Maria fearlessly saved his life. He decides that he will not back down, so he immediately runs towards the rock dragon before the dragon can reach Maria. He uses the rolling skill and dodges one of the dragon's attacks. At the same time, the divine voice tells him that he has been awarded the title of King of Ages. The protagonist now focuses on the battle and sees that the old man who was with Maria is dead. The other man is still alive but unconscious. He is bleeding and has only 5 hit points left. The rock dragon attacks again. The protagonist realizes that something must be done. He uses the rolling skill to distract the dragon. His plan is to lure the dragon away and return later to help. But this isn't easy. The rock dragon uses a long-range skill, Trager, which is impossible to dodge. This attack severely injures the protagonist. He now has no recourse. Still, he thinks. Just then, the rock dragon attacks with a bite, and at the same time, the protagonist lands a fire punch, which slightly damages the dragon. But the rock dragon quickly regains its lost HP. The protagonist realizes he can't wait any longer, so he immediately picks up Maria and runs away. He realizes that another man is also there, but he's in no condition to save both of them. So he decides to at least save the girl. The rock dragon tries to attack again, but its heavy body forces it to slow down, giving the protagonist a chance to escape. After reaching a distance, he puts Maria down and examines her condition. He realizes that her HP is decreasing due to excessive bleeding. He considers using healing magic, but first decides it's best to take her to a safe place. The protagonist remembers the direction Maria was coming from when they first met. His sense of smell helps him recognize human scent. He picks up Maria without stopping and runs in the direction of the scent. Then he smells another scent and realizes that gray wolves are coming. He runs with all his might, not knowing how many there are, but soon he is surrounded from all sides. Now there is no way out. He puts Maria down and starts fighting the wolves alone. Maria remains unconscious, but hearing the sound of fighting, she opens her eyes for a moment and sees him fighting the wolves. Then she faints again. After defeating all the gray wolves, the protagonist picks her up on his back. He saves her, but now he is completely exhausted. His body can barely move. While walking, he finds a human village and calls for help, but his voice sounds like the voice of a monster. People come towards him with weapons. He calls for help but is speared in the leg. The people mistake him for a monster. Protagonist tries to explain that he just wants to save the girl, but seeing the fear in their eyes, he realizes nothing will change. He gently lays Maria down on the ground. After seeing that she is safe, he leaves. The villagers say that the monster may return, so they remain vigilant. They treat Maria, and from a distance, protagonist is happy to know that she will survive. He himself is badly injured, but he realizes that a dragon remains a dragon no matter where it is. As he leaves, the divine voice tells him to take the ATBT. The Hero Level 1 title has been awarded. 2 days later, Maria awakens at Mariel's house. Mariel tells her that she has healed her wounds. She says it's been a long time since she used such strong white magic. She explains that Maria had been unconscious for 2 days and needs rest. Maria lies down after hearing this. After a while, Mariel recounts how many times she had told Dawes not to do anything, but he never listened. Maria asks her where Dawes and Granz are. Mariel remains silent for a while and then reveals that Granz is dead. His body was found in the forest, crushed by a rock. Mariel says that no one should fight a rock dragon. She also explains that Dawes' body has not been found and that the dragon may have eaten him. Hearing this, Maria begins to cry and blame herself. She says that if she had stopped Dawes, all this wouldn't have happened. Mariel consoles her, saying that at least she survived. Maria says that Dawes wasn't a bad man. He always protected the village. The children liked him because he was strong. But one day, a villager challenged him, saying he couldn't defeat a rock dragon. Dawes was upset by this, and Maria had witnessed it with his own eyes. When another villager taunted Dawes, saying that he was the one who ran home in fear, he said that if he tried now, he could easily defeat a rock dragon. The villagers discouraged him from doing so, reminding him that this time there would be no one to rescue him. But despite all this, Dawes' resolve was firm. He kept saying that he would soon defeat a rock dragon. Sometime later, he decided to team up with the Granz and went to Maria, claiming that Mariel had given them permission to hunt the rock dragon. This was a complete lie, but Dawes also said that Mariel was busy, so he had asked Maria to help them. Maria became suspicious and asked him where Mariel was at the moment. She wanted to hear it from her. But at that time, Dawes had bluntly stated that Mariel had gone to another nearby village for some work. Maria was silent for a while. But then she reminded him that the rock dragon was the most dangerous monster outside the village, and that Mariel had clearly forbidden fighting it under any circumstances. She had also said that even if Dawes wanted to go hunting, Maria should not help him. Dawes misunderstood this and asked Maria if she was calling him a liar. Maria was in trouble. Dawes tried to convince her, saying that Granz was present when Mariel gave permission. This was also a lie. But Dawes threatened Maria that if she didn't go with them, they would still go to the rock dragon, and that both Dawes and Granz could lose their lives. Hearing this, Maria was left with no other option and was forced to agree. Thus, she fell directly into Dawes' trap. After hearing all this, Mariel says that Dawes' own pride cost him his life, and this clearly shows how easily humans make wrong decisions over trivial matters. She tells Maria to be careful and not make the same mistake again, as it could cost her her life. Maria nods in agreement and wipes away her tears. Then Mariel smiles and says that it's truly remarkable that she survived despite such serious injuries. Hearing this, Maria sits up straight and asks if someone picked her up from the forest and brought her here. Mariel is shocked and reminds her that she was found outside the village, attacked by a monster. Maria tries to explain that she was attacked by a rock dragon in the forest and fainted there. Therefore, it's impossible for her to have come here on her own. Mariel says that this is strange because no one in the village would risk going into the forest alone at night. She was found unconscious outside the village, and people said that she was attacked by a monster. Gregory drove the monster away. Maria becomes even more confused because she can't remember anything. Mariel explains that sometimes, after experiencing a major shock, people lose their memory. Perhaps the same thing happened to her. Maria ponders this, but suddenly remembers seeing a baby dragon fighting a pack of gray wolves. She immediately asks what the monster she had looked like. But Mariel says she doesn't know because it ran away before she could reach it. Maria doesn't say anything further, but questions begin to arise in her mind. Could it be the same dragon? A few days later, our main character awakens in the middle of the forest and finds that all his injuries have healed. He knows that rest helps his body heal, but he still can't believe how he recovered so quickly. He clearly understands that dragons are very strong. If he were human, he probably wouldn't have been able to recover so quickly. He just hopes Maria is safe now. He remembers how weak he felt when he tried to save her. Even though he had evolved and felt stronger, the truth was that he was still weak. If he had been a little stronger, perhaps everything would have been different and he could have defeated that rock dragon. Therefore, he decides that now he must become stronger and waste no time. He quickly decides to find a group of dark worms. To fight, he ties one dark worm to a tree, gathering all the surrounding dark worms there. When all the worms approach the trap, he suddenly attacks them and crushes them in a matter of seconds. He proudly declares that he set the trap using his Call Ally skill, and it worked perfectly. The divine voice tells him that he has earned the title of Wrong Dare. He finds this a bit harsh. He makes it clear that he will not use this method again, but right now he wants to use these dark worms to evolve quickly. He continues fighting the dark worms without stopping, eliminating them one by one within a few minutes. The divine voice informs him that he has gained 24 XP. A little while later, he is told that he has gained 48 more XP. He doesn't stop and continues to eliminate the dark worms without mercy. He uses Dragon Punch on them, eliminating most of them. He eliminates all the dark worms in a very short time. When the last worm falls, he tells them with a slight smile that everyone rushing together to help their friend was truly heroic, and that he will always remember their noble sacrifice. He then completely reduces the last dark worm to ashes with his fire breath, instantly reaching level 25. He exclaims with joy, and Divine Voice informs him that he has met all the conditions necessary for evolution and that his level is fully maxed. Now that everything is complete for evolution, Divine Voice asks him if he wants to see the evolution tree. He excitedly says yes without delay. Divine Voice shows him the different evolution options. This time he has a total of 5 choices. But the last one is a bit scary, Young Plague Dragon. The other options include Kid Marble Dragon, Kid Dragon, Mini Angel Dragon, and Mini Dragon. He is confused for a while, wondering what the difference is between Mini, Kid Baby, and Little. The Young Plague Dragon option also makes him a little curious, and this is why he has trouble making a decision. But then the Divine Voice speaks up and begins to clear up his confusion. The Divine Voice explains that for some monster types, Little doesn't refer to the evolutionary stage, but rather to the species size limit. He is a little surprised because the Divine Voice doesn't usually answer in such detail, but now he begins to listen carefully. The Divine Voice explains that Little-type monsters' stats increase quickly, but their evolution paths and abilities are limited, while Baby-type monsters have more options. Hearing this, he immediately understands that Little-type monsters grow quickly and survive easily, but they aren't the right choice in the long run. This is why becoming a Baby-type was the right decision. The Divine Voice further explains that Kid types are higher versions of Baby types. In a way, the next stage. She also explains that many monster types have limited evolution options, but their evolution tree is stable. This seems quite clear to him. He then wants to ask about the young dragon type, but Divine Voice doesn't say anything about it. He understands that he won't get any more information about this option yet, so he assumes it's probably around the kit type. Still, he decides that it's important to understand each option thoroughly before making a choice. Divine Voice tells him that a mini dragon is the same size as a little dragon, but its growth is much slower and its evolution options are also limited. In return, its future evolutions have a lot of potential. He immediately says that he doesn't like slow growth at all and that limited options don't seem right to him. He then asks Divine Voice to explain the next option. Divine Voice explains that a mini angel dragon is a dragon that has acquired a protective spirit and vows to live for others. This dragon can use various types of white magic, but its fighting abilities are not very good. He looks at the protective spirit title and suggests that perhaps the evolution path can also vary depending on the title. He doesn't fully appreciate this option because it has less battle power, but white magic is useful for healing, the same magic that Maria used to heal his wounds when they first met. While he's considering this option, Divine Voice begins explaining the next choices. Divine Voice explains that a kid dragon is the natural form that comes after a baby dragon. It's still not fully mature, but its physical strength is significantly increased. He realizes that this is a stronger version of the baby dragon, and in a way, it could be his true and simple path. The Divine Voice then tells him about the Kid Marble Dragon. She explains that it is a mutated dragon with distinct dots on its skin, and its magic is stronger than a normal dragon. He finds this option quite interesting because increased magic power can be very useful in the long run. The word mutation also seems special to him, as if it were a limited time special. But before he can decide, the Divine Voice begins to tell him about the young plague dragon, which he didn't even want to consider. The Divine Voice explains that the young plague dragon is the first stage of an evil dragon that spreads disaster. However, it hasn't completely gone astray yet and can return to the right path. He immediately rejects this idea. He doesn't want to hear any further explanation. He doesn't know what it means to spread disaster, but he doesn't want to know. He thinks that if he chooses this option, he will become even more alone. The Divine Voice continues speaking and explains that young plague dragons have high intelligence and can use the human transformation skill, allowing them to enter human villages. However, this is mostly used for evil purposes. He still thinks this option is a bad one, but as soon as he hears about human transformation, he stops. If he can transform into a human, he will be able to go to the village without being attacked and he will not be alone. At first, he finds the idea quite distasteful. Becoming a young plague dragon doesn't seem right at all. But as he thinks about the human transformation part, his thinking slowly begins to change. If he can transform into a human, he will be able to go to the village without being attacked. He will be able to live among people and not be alone. This thought brings him some hope, but then something begins to disturb him. Even if he becomes human, he will still remain an evil plague dragon. This thought unsettles him. A proper internal conflict begins to arise within him. Becoming a young plague dragon seems like a very bad idea from all perspectives. But then he begins to worry about Maria. So he wants the human transformation skill at all costs. After much deliberation, he tells himself that if he simply learns human transformation, he can live a pure and honest life, and if the situation becomes too dire, he can return to being a dragon. With this thought in mind, he finally makes the decision and decides to evolve into a young plague dragon. At that very moment, his body instantly begins to transform. The divine voice tells him that he has evolved from a baby dragon into a young plague dragon. Even though this was exactly what he wanted, as soon as he sees his reflection in the water, he begins to doubt his decision. He's no longer the cute dragon he once was. His entire appearance has changed. The more he looks at himself, the more he feels evil. Divine Voice tells him that his view stat skill has been upgraded from level 2 to level 3, and he can now check the details of his skills himself. Divine Voice skill has also been upgraded from level 1 to level 2, and he has received new skills called Fly and Dragon Scale Powder. He is somewhat relieved to hear this. But Divine Voice further reveals that his net skill has now become Venom Fangs, and he has also received Dark Type, Diseased Breath, and Paralyzing Venom Claws. He becomes frightened upon hearing the names of these skills. He tells Divine Voice that he doesn't want such dangerous skills. But Divine Voice doesn't stop. She reveals that he's also received the Calamity title and that his wrong title has been upgraded from level 1 to level 2. Hearing all this information, he begins to feel that he may have made a very wrong decision. The worst part is that he can't hear anything about the human transformation skill anywhere. This means that he's become a flying calamity for nothing. He tries to convince himself that perhaps he can get this skill after leveling up. When he asks Divine Voice about this, he's told that such an explanation isn't possible at level 3. As soon as Divine Voice falls silent, he feels completely defeated. He feels bad that he's gotten all these weird and scary skills instead of human transformation. At least now he can check skills himself. So he first wants to know about the Divine Voice skill, because he doesn't know whose voice it is. But the Divine Voice replies that such an explanation isn't possible at level 3. He already felt that way, so he's not too surprised. After that, he decides to look at the other skills. The Divine Voice tells him about Dragon Scale Powder, which spreads a debilitating miasma that affects everything nearby. At max level, this dragon can wipe out an entire nation just by flying. As soon as he moves its wings, a nearby flower dies. This panics him. Now he doesn't like the idea of becoming a biological weapon at all. He says he should have been warned first because the powder came out just by moving its wings. If he were human, he would never have approached such a dragon. The Divine Voice further explains that Diseased Breath is a breath attack that spreads a disease-filled miasma. It not only causes severe debilitating effects, but is also highly contagious and has once wiped out an entire civilization. Hearing this, he completely freaks out. Now he begins to wonder if he can choose the good guy path again. He decides to check the titles. The Divine Voice explains that the ATBT Hero title is given to those who possess modest courage and whose kindness can make them heroes in the future. It increases the damage of certain weapons and also has a major impact on the evolution path. He doesn't mind the idea at all, as perhaps he can level up this title and avoid the evil dragon route. Divine Voice then explains the wrong-do title. This title is given to those diabolic villains who leave mountains of cops and laugh evilly while counting their victims. It increases the damage of dark-type attacks, makes learning white magic more difficult, and reduces the overall recovery rate. It also has a significant impact on the overall evolution path. Upon hearing this, he interrupts. He thinks this is the worst thing ever. He completely regrets it and asks Divine Voice to send him back. He wants to be an innocent baby dragon again. While he's panicking and filled with regret, Mariel and Maria are checking all the warding stones in the village. Mariel explains that the warding stones form a protective barrier around the village to prevent monsters from entering. It's not actually a strong wall, but rather a cam that subconsciously makes monsters feel they shouldn't cross this area. However, this cam can be infective for monsters with strong wills or clear goals. Maria believes this could include the monster that came near the village that day. But Mariel clearly states that she's not sure because she didn't see it herself. Still, Maria keeps wondering if the monster really came to help, especially after seeing it fight the wolf. Mariel explains that if the cam was broken because the monster entered the village, it's a serious problem and it's possible it could return. So she heads to the next warding stone to check if everything is all right. After everything is over, Maria asks her if she can tell her more about monsters. Mariel says that she's become a little more obsessed with them since that incident. Maria admits that she can't ignore the feeling that a small dragon saved her in the forest. Mariel stops her and asks if she's developing feelings for a monster. Maria quickly denies it but still hesitates a little. Seeing her confused state, Mariel decides that learning about monsters won't harm her. She explains that monsters can evolve into different forms, and with each evolution they become stronger. They level up by hunting other creatures. Levels are not just for monsters but for humans as well. Mariel says that monsters can level up by collecting experience. Mariel confirms this and explains that different types of monsters have different maximum levels. When they reach their maximum level, they evolve into a monster 1 rank higher, and over time, evolve repeatedly to more powerful forms. Maria says it's hard to believe that people from the past can understand the nature of monsters. Mariel asks her what she's talking about, as she explained this history to her only 11 years ago. Maria doesn't remember anything because she was only 5 years old at the time, and that's when she first met Mariel. Mariel admits she's right, and Maria laughs, saying that she was so short that she had to look up at Mariel when she spoke. Hearing this, Mariel glares at her, and Maria immediately realizes she's touched a nerve by bringing up the topic of her height. Even though the statement is probably true, Mariel denies it and changes the topic. She explains that special people are born from time to time who can hear the divine voice. This divine voice provides information about monsters' levels and other things, like heroes or saints. That's why people know all this. It's not the result of trial and error. Monsters fight to survive, gain experience, and try to evolve. Meaning, every monster seeks power and becomes more ferocious. He wants to become one. Even though the dragon truly saved Maria's life. The next time they meet, it will have evolved into a more dangerous form and will use its fangs and claws on her. Maria immediately stops Mariel from speaking further. But Mariel warns him that he shouldn't have any odd expectations from monsters. Meanwhile, he decides to level up super fast and get back on track because he wants to be a hero, not a demon king. First, he wants to learn human transformation and go to the village because he wants to see Maria again. Without wasting any time, he starts looking for nearby monsters by the week to gain experience quickly. But suddenly, his movement becomes difficult. Then, he notices that threads are wrapped around his body, preventing him from moving. At that very moment, a huge monster appears behind him. But it's not the spider he expected. He quickly checks his stats and discovers he's a very strong Terran. He thinks he won't be able to beat him just yet. Before he can try to escape, the spider shoots webs at him. He immediately uses baby breath to burn the threads, but his own body catches fire as well. He rolls on the ground to put out the fire. Just then, a divine voice tells him he's gained the fire resistance skill. After extinguishing the fire, he stands up and checks the spider's stats again. The monster still has 62 out of 78 hit points remaining. This means his attack wasn't very effective. He then decides to use his claws on the spider and activates the paralyzing venom claws skill for the first time. After a series of attacks, he retreats and checks his stamina. The spider now has 42 hit points left. The Tyrant Tor's status shows that it is burned, slightly paralyzed, and completely enraged, which isn't a good sign at all. He can't understand how it still has half its HP left, and he clearly feels that he's enraged it even more. This is definitely not good, so he decides he must flee. The spider is currently paralyzed. So without wasting a moment, he uses his rolling skill and starts running at full speed. But his bad luck is that the paralysis wears off very quickly, and the enraged spider starts chasing him in anger. At that very moment, he remembers that he also has the fly skill. He tries to spread his small wings, but they don't carry him very far. He becomes confused as to why he can't fly properly. Finally, he assumes that perhaps his level is too low. There's no time to think, as the spider is almost about to catch him. Forced to do so, he relies on his rolling skills and keeps running. Even after rolling continuously for 10 minutes, the spider continues to chase him. The monster shows no signs of fatigue. Just then, a divine voice resonates, informing him that his rolling skill has been upgraded from level 2 to level 3. This awakens a little hope within him. He now believes he can escape, as his speed has increased significantly. The divine voice also informs him that he has earned the title of Chicken Runner. He immediately protests and asks if he's being called a coward. He clarifies that if he even slightly believed he could defeat the spider, he would have fought. But the situation is not like that. Things only worsen when a huge cliff suddenly appears before him. He clearly knows that such a huge drop will kill him fatally. He considers taking a right turn before the edge, but then another idea comes to his mind. If he reaches the other side, he can escape. His flying skills are not reliable. Still, he decides to jump at full speed. Hoping for the best, he jumps. As he reaches the highest point, he spreads his wings fully and tries to ride the wind. This idea works even better than he expected. He reaches the other side safely. He is happy that he survived, but his body is now experiencing extreme exhaustion. The spider has completely disappeared from his sight. He thinks the monster has given up. Confidently, he promises himself that he'll return after leveling up and defeat the spider. But then he looks back at the cliff and freezes. The spider isn't gone. It's created a complete bridge with its web so it can get to the other side. He panics. He realizes this monster is overly persistent. Without wasting any time, he starts rolling again. The divine voice tells him that his roll skill has been upgraded from level 3 to level 4. This would have been a good thing, but he is currently fighting for his life, so there's no room for rejoicing. Just then, a gray wolf accidentally crosses his path. He simply rolls over it, instantly gaining 20 experience. The divine voice explains that due to the effect of the walking egg title, the young plague dragon advances directly from level 1 to level 3. A forest cutter then appears in the path. He rolls and kills the insect, gaining more experience. He then accidentally rolls on a war mush, a weird monster butterfly, and several other monsters. The entire situation becomes a literal hit and run, further increasing the experience of his wrongly named title. The divine voice explains that the young plague dragon has advanced from level 3 to level 8. His stats have increased significantly just by running. He begins to think that perhaps he can defeat the spider. He finally stops and confronts the spider. He quickly checks its skills, which include bite, paralyzing tongue, spider silk, and double poison. He doesn't know exactly what double poison does, but decides to get close and use full-powered baby breath. Before he can do anything, Spider shows him what double poison is. He releases a powerful toxin into the air. He immediately jumps onto a tree to gain distance. Due to his poison resistance, he is able to move, but his throat burns badly. He soon realizes that Spider is waiting for the poison to take effect because he doesn't know that he is poison resistant. This gives him a great idea. He decides to act. He loudly exhales and falls down from the tree, pretending that he is dying. The spider falls into the trap and jumps to finish it off. Even though his throat still hurts, he doesn't hesitate. He uses full baby breath on the spider, knowing the monster won't be able to dodge. Finally, he delivers a powerful blow with his tail, completely finishing the spider off. The divine voice tells him that his level has been raised from 8 to 14. He feels satisfied. Defeating such a tough monster has significantly increased his level. The divine voice tells him that his baby breath skill has been raised from level 2 to level 3, and he has also gained the dragon tail skill. He waits excitedly for the divine voice to mention the human transformation skill. But once again, the divine voice goes completely silent. This leaves him feeling hopeless again. He begins to think that perhaps he needs to do something else before learning human transformation. The whole day has been exhausting. Finally, he decides to eat something and rest somewhere. Luckily, he finds a nice-looking cave that is apparently empty. He quickly goes inside, lights a fire, and cooks dinner. He's happy that at least he's safe tonight. He prepares grilled meat for dinner. But as he starts to eat, he notices a slightly gamey smell which he doesn't like at all. Then he remembers that he had found some fruits earlier that smelled quite nice, almost like pepper. When he pours the juice from those fruits on the meat, all the gaminess is completely gone. It's replaced by a mild spicy aroma and flavor that's so good that he wants more. This allows him to enjoy his meal. After finishing his meal, he decides to make this cave his base and start collecting red fruit. But he soon realizes that the fruit is a bit too wet and sticky. Therefore, it would be difficult to use as a seasoning. He thinks that drying it outside would make it easier to use and also help with preservation. Just then, the divine voice informs him that he has been awarded the title of Mr. Chef. Hearing this, he feels as if his private life is being broadcast. He becomes annoyed and tells the divine voice to stop behaving like a commentator. After eating a large meal, he begins to wonder if he can become popular with the villagers through his home cooking. But the next moment, he discards this idea. He knows that no matter how good a feast he prepares, his evil dragon appearance is enough to scare people. He thinks that he was a little cute when he was a baby dragon. But now, in his intermediate appearance, even Maria might not recognize him. He blames himself and says this is all a result of his pursuit of the human transformation skill. Now he's completely caught up in the enemy of mankind storyline, regretting his decision once again. Meanwhile, Maria learns that a villager from the village had returned after seeing Dawes near the bird's pond. But Dawes didn't notice him and went deeper into the forest, then disappeared completely. Gregory notices Maria's concern and reminds her that what happened to Dawes and the Grands wasn't her fault. Maria reassures him that she's fine. She then immediately rushes to tell Mariel about this and suggests searching for Dawes. Mariel immediately refuses. She clearly states that she can't go into the forest under any circumstances and that they can't risk anyone's life in the village. Maria tries to insist. But hearing Mariel's harsh words, she falls silent. Seeing her sad face, Mariel comforts her, saying there's no need to worry. She'll have Guilt investigate and the adventurers will arrive in time to help. Maria apologizes for her unreasonable behavior and decides not to argue anymore. The next day, our hero feels completely recovered after a good sleep. But as he looks outside, he sees a strange, moving puddle near the river. When he tries to check its stats, he suddenly gets a headache. Divine Voice tells him that the View Stats skill can't provide such specific information at level 3. He doesn't understand what's going on. His eyes also start to burn, and everything becomes more confusing. Then a Divine Voice informs him that his View Stat skill has been upgraded from level 3 to level 4. He manages to open his eyes. Everything appears blurry, but he still can't figure out what that monster is. A slime monster appears before the main character. Upon seeing it, he thinks it doesn't look very strong. He decides to hunt it down to gain experience. But as he tries to view its stats, his eyes begin to burn. The system tells him that he can't access this information right now. The main character screams in pain, wondering what kind of weird monster it is that can hurt so much just by looking at it. Suddenly his View Stat skill levels up, and for a brief moment he can see the slime monster's stats. The stats are insanely high. Seeing this, he falls to the ground in shock. He can't understand what such a dangerous creature is. Just then, the slime monster notices him and shoots tentacles at him. The main character dodges in time and escapes into the forest. Arriving there, he realizes that the slime's stats weren't actually that high. He had misread them earlier. Still, the monster seems quite cunning to him, so he decides it's best to leave it alone for now. He starts looking for targets in another direction. Then he spots a pot in the bushes. The main character thinks it would be a good idea to place fruit in it, but as soon as he touches it, the pot leaps into the air and attacks him. It's actually not a pot, but a monster named Patoris. The main character checks its stats and realizes it's not very strong. He hits the pot monster with a flame punch, but it doesn't inflict significant damage. Now it gets serious and attacks with full force. However, the pot monster remains completely calm, resting regularly between attacks to recover HP. Its heart shell blocks every attack. Finally, the main character thinks creatively. He picks up the monster and throws it into the river. This method works and the monster drowns to its death. The main character gains experience points and levels up. He also gains a new title, the Dastardly King, and his Wrong Dare title also levels up. He feels a little bad that he's slowly going down the villain route. Suddenly, a group of pot monsters surround him from all sides. The main character realizes that the previous monster summoned them using the Cry skill, and now everyone is very angry. All the pot monsters join together to form an unstable, tall tower. The main character thinks this is going to become the ultimate monster. He flies up, grabs the topmost monster, and slams it down onto the tower below. This defeats all the monsters simultaneously. By doing this, the main character learns a new skill called Meteorite and gains 600 experience points, taking him straight to level 30. His skills also level up and he is very happy. But the problem is that the monster's shells break, leaving him without a single usable pot. He thinks he can use the monsters as meat, but then remembers that vegetables are also essential in the diet. As he walks forward, he sees the sky turning purple and hears the sound of heavy footsteps coming from somewhere nearby. Curious, the main character heads in that direction. There, he sees a bear strolling leisurely. The main character asks Divine Voice for its stats, but she explains that the stats cannot be seen due to the distance. However, she provides the species details. This bear is a D+ rank monster called a clay bear. It is made of clay, it is quite powerful and has a high recovery rate. The main character realizes that he is at the same rank as this bear. He wonders if he can defeat it in a fair fight. But the real reason is that if it is truly made of clay, it can be used to make pots and other items. He doesn't want to miss this golden opportunity and chases after the bear. The bear is unaware of his presence. The main character jumps back to perform a sneak attack, but at the last moment, the bear turns and deadly spikes emerge from its chest. The main character barely defends himself and jumps back. He says that with such spikes, it doesn't deserve to be called a bear. The bear attempts a body slam, but the main character dodges and hits it with a rolling attack. The bear's health bar is significantly depleted. However, the bear immediately uses the heal skill to restore its full health. The main character realizes that killing it in one shot is impossible. Now he uses a hit-and-run strategy, wearing down the bear until its mana runs out. When he feels the bear's healing slowing, he moves in for the finishing blow. Then, the bear creates a sand storm around itself. After the storm ends, spikes appear on its back as well. The main character calls it a hacker because the roll attack is no longer possible. Fortunately, Bear's mana has been significantly depleted due to his prolonged use of heavy skills. The main character decides to inflict a little more damage. Bear plucks his own mango and throws it at the main character. The main character dodges it and sees that the mango transforms into normal clay as soon as it hits the ground. Clay Bear's body slowly begins to separate from his main body. He continues to throw spikes at the main character. As soon as the spikes hit the ground, they transform into clay. Then, suddenly an idea comes to the main character. He charges straight towards Bear and tears one of his mangoes with his cloth. As usual, the mango also falls to the ground. It turns into clay as soon as it falls. The main character wastes no time, quickly balls the clay into a ball and then flies high into the air. He thinks that using just the meteoroid skill won't kill Clay Bear. So he improvises and adds his entire body weight to the meteoroid skill. This attack rips Clay Bear's entire body apart. Once the fight is over, the main character gains 300 experience points and reaches level 33. He also gains a new skill called Nutcracker because that's what he just did. The main character feels exhausted, but he's happy that he's found clay with which he can make pots and jars. He builds a furnace and places the pots in it to bake. Meanwhile, he decides to prepare dinner. He goes out to find vegetables and mushrooms. He finds a thunder mushroom which is nutritious and tasty, but it contains a mild paralyzing poison. The main character is not yet paralysis resistant, so he throws it away. He thanks his leveled-up divine voice for giving him these extra details. Then he sees a joint flower. Just as he is about to appease it, the flower attacks him. The main character panics, but somehow he rips the flower from its stem and kills it. Divine Voice explains that it is a carnivorous plant that eats animals but cannot digest salt and stores it in its roots. The main character realizes that this is the most valuable thing to improve his dining experience. He brings the salt-filled bulb to his cave. Meanwhile, Maria disobeys Mariel's order and goes outside the barrier protecting the village to find Dawes. She's willing to take any risk just so she can bring him back safely. She doubts whether the old drunk man was trustworthy, but she remembers how Dawes blackmailed her into joining his party. She thinks that if she had stopped him then, perhaps both Dawes and the old man would still be alive. Suddenly, a worm monster attacks her. Maria quickly defeats it using a fireball and reminds herself that she must keep working, no matter what. Here in the forest, the main character finds a huge monster mushroom which, after maturing, can move and attack people. It tastes quite good. The main character adds it to his ingredient list. Then he finds another weird mushroom. Divine Voice explains that this is an A-rank mushroom, which is very valuable and, if cultivated properly, can support the economy of an entire nation. Hearing this, the main character begins to dream of becoming rich in the future. But when she explains that this mushroom is a potent drug that can make people addicted, he immediately changes his mind. He burns all the mushrooms to prevent anyone from becoming addicted. By doing so, his hero title levels up. He then finds pepper berries in the forest. Divine explains that there was a time when it was the most valuable spice in the world, worth its weight in gold. The main character immediately harvests all the peppers. Meanwhile, Maria moves deeper into the forest, hiding from monsters. After a while, he realizes that she is deep in the danger zone. If she goes any further, she might encounter a much stronger monster, so she decides to return home, looking at the village's outskirts. At night, the main character uses light mushrooms to brighten his cave. Then he checks the pots he had set out to bake. They are perfectly cooked. In the same pots, he makes a stew with the ingredients he collected today. The salt and mushrooms make the food incredibly tasty. The main character begins speaking as if he were a food critic, even though he knows almost nothing about cooking. He explains how salt brings out the umami flavor of the dish. Then he produces chopsticks to eat. Eating with chopsticks is the trickiest way to eat, especially when human hands are needed. The place is Dragon Claws. Using salt increases the main character's chef title from level 1 to level 2. Then he notices that the bowl he's been drinking stew from is a little difficult to use and some of the stew spills. He decides he needs to level up his pottery skills as well. He plans to make a new bowl and other cutlery items. The next day, he dreams of coating the cave's barren walls with clay bricks. Divine Voice tells him that he's also earned the ceramic artisan title. The next day, a carriage arrives in the village near the forest. Two pretty adventurers emerge from it. They've come to investigate the forest. They wonder if they'll actually find any survivors in the forest, but the guild has given them a job, so they have to complete it. Inside the forest, the main character begins furnishing his cave with clay furniture. He hunts wolves and brings them to his cave to process them. One side of the cave is filled with wolf feces. The main character decides to dry the feces later, as he needs to season the meat and dry it for the cold season. He feels quite satisfied with his progress and thinks he's getting used to this new world. But as he goes out to collect meat jerky, he sees some monkeys eating it. The main character becomes enraged and chases the monkeys away. But then, he realizes that if he doesn't find a permanent solution, his entire meat reserve will be depleted. An idea comes to his mind. He decides to create a high-grade poison, just like the great Walter White. His plan is to coat the meat jerky with poison and kill the monkeys. While he's busy collecting dangerous ingredients in the forest, the main character suddenly realizes that he can now identify poisonous mushrooms and plants just by looking at them, without needing the system's help. This is the first instance. He then arrives at a flower field. He decides to take some flowers to decorate his cave, because everyone deserves at least one pretty thing in their life. He begins dreaming of a beautiful and cozy cave. Suddenly, a cute little monster appears before him. The main character is startled by the sight of it and asks the system about it. He learns that this cute mongoose is called the Poison Princess, whose entire skill revolves around poison. The main character is a little frightened, but the monster seems to be scared too and runs away. Suddenly, a piece of clay falls nearby, distracting the main character. Using this opportunity, Poison Princess bites him and immediately runs away. The main character initially doesn't understand her strategy, but soon the poison begins to take its toll. He feels very weak. He can't move the shoulder where the bite occurred. The system informs him that his poison resistance skill has leveled up. The main character realizes that Poison Princess's poison is stronger than any other poison he's ever encountered, and he falls unconscious. Poison Princess, standing at a distance, laughs menacingly. He finally understands that this was all Venom Princess's plan from the beginning. He begins to wonder if this poison is different from normal poison. The feeling in his body clearly indicates that this poison is causing more damage than necessary. His body is becoming heavy. Breathing is becoming difficult. His thoughts are gradually slowing. He understands one thing clearly. If he continues lying there without thinking, he will surely die. This thought terrifies him, but it is precisely this fear that keeps his mind active. He forces himself to think. He asks himself what he can do to survive now. After some thought, he makes a decision. Now there is only one way forward. He must learn more about the Poison Princess that poisoned him. If he can understand the creature better, he may be able to find a counter to the poison. With this hope, he calls for an appraisal. The divine voice answers and begins to explain. It reveals that this creature is a D-rank monster. This monster is known for its extremely cruel hunting style. It poisons its prey and runs away instead of killing it. When the full effect is exerted and prey becomes helpless or dies, it returns and consumes his body. The divine voice then provides another important piece of information. It explains that this creature, called Venom Princess, creates its own poison within its own body. It slowly builds this poison by consuming poisonous substances, but it also has a critical weakness. The divine voice tells him that Venom Princess's bodily fluids are the only antidote to the poison. Hearing this, everything changes for him. At that very moment, he fully understands his situation. If he wants to survive, he must capture Venom Princess alive and heal himself with her bodily fluid. There is no other option. Due to his poison resistance skill, he is not completely helpless yet. Even though his body feels weak, he can still manage some movement. He uses his remaining strength and activates his roll skill. He begins rolling through the forest. Just as he expected, Venom Princess doesn't stop chasing him. She too uses the roll skill to stay ahead of him. Suddenly, a clay spike hits him. Then he realizes that Venom Princess can also use that skill. He continues rolling for a long time, pushing himself forward despite the blood vision. Then suddenly a memory comes to him. He remembers the cliff he jumped from earlier to escape the joint spider. That memory gives him an idea. He decides to use the same trick on Venom Princess this time. Gathering all his remaining strength, he begins rolling faster. At the last second, he changes direction and pushes Venom Princess off the cliff. As she begins to fall, relief floods his mind, but that relief instantly turns to panic. He remembers that Venom Princess's bodily fluids are her only way to survive. If she falls to her death, she has chosen her own death. Without a second thought, he jumps down from the cliff. In midair, poison searches his body again, this time even stronger than before. His strength rapidly begins to drain. His arms and legs feel as if they will stop working at any moment, yet he refuses to give up. He summons his last power and forces his baby breath skill. The blast pushes them both up a little, just enough to reach solid ground. As soon as he hits the ground, his body completely completely gives up. Poison has already done a lot of damage and he becomes unconscious. He falls to the ground and Venom Princess lands on his chest. Far away in the forest, Mara is shown returning to her village. She has spent the entire day searching for Dawes again. She keeps calling his name, searching every possible place but still finds nothing. Suddenly, Mara hears Mariel's voice in the distance. She doesn't want Mariel to know she's sneaked into the forest again. If Mariel finds out, she will surely scold her. Acting quickly, Maria emerges from the wood and walks toward the sound. When she reaches Mariel, she makes a calm face and greets her as if nothing has happened. Mariel explains that she hasn't seen Maria in a while and is getting worried. She says she searched everywhere, even went to Maria's house but couldn't find her anywhere. That's why she asks Maria directly, "Where have you been all this time?" Maria doesn't want Mariel to know the truth, especially that she was alone in the forest searching for the dog. She tells Mariel that she felt a bit cold and decided to go for a walk to get some fresh air and clear her head. Mariel listens but isn't completely convinced. She finds something strange in Maria's answer. She thinks Maria might have been secretly searching the forest again, just like before. This suspicion leads Mariel to directly ask if she was looking for the Dawes in the woods. Maria denies it without hesitation. She then says she just came for a walk because she wasn't feeling well. Seeing Maria's serious face, Mariel has no proof to argue. With no other option, she believes her. Changing the topic, Mariel provides some new information. She explains that a group of adventurers is on their way to survey the forest and find the dog. She tells Mara that professionals are now handling the work, so she doesn't need to worry so much. She gently advises Mara to let them conduct the search and focus on staying safe. Maria listens quietly and nods, but her heart remains worried. At the same time, deep inside the forest, he slowly regains consciousness. As his vision clears, he sees Venom Princess sitting in front of him. At first, he assumes the worst. He thinks she's staying put so she can eat him because the poison should have already killed him. But when he tries to move, he feels something strange. His arms no longer feel heavy. The burning pain of the poison has completely gone. In that moment, everything becomes clear to him. Venom Princess didn't stay there to eat him. She gave him an antidote. Somehow, using her own bodily fluids, she saved his life. Understanding this also makes another thing clear to him. When he jumped off the cliff to save her, in that very moment, Venom Princess probably took a liking to him. She no longer sees him as prey. He has become something else in her eyes. After some time, he decides to take Venom Princess to his home. When they arrive, he prepares a simple dinner for them both. As they sit and eat together, he experiences a feeling he hasn't felt in a long time. He feels at ease. He realizes that he's finally eating with someone else. The loneliness he's been feeling slowly begins to fade. Gradually, they become very close. Over time, they become true partners and begin hunting together. They learn when to move together, when to attack, and when to retreat. As the days pass, her presence begins to feel normal to him. Her presence no longer feels strange. It feels natural, as if this is the way things should be. But there's one thing he still can't get used to. Venom Princess doesn't like normal food at all. She doesn't eat any food offered to her. She only prefers to eat poisonous plants that grow deep in the forest. Poisonous mushrooms have a foul smell, so to stop her, he uses baby breath and burns them before she can eat them. As soon as he does this, Venom Princess becomes visibly upset. At that very moment, he realizes he's made a mistake. To her, those plants weren't dangerous food. They were the source of her strength. Burning them was like attacking something important to her. To make up for his mistake, he promises to bring them back later. He was still wondering where he would get the poisonous plants from when something unexpected happened. Suddenly, a powerful presence appears. A rare monster called Twin Head appears in front of them and blocks their path. The creature has two heads, each with different colors and expressions. He notices a strong aura emanating from its body and senses danger. When he observes it closely, he discovers that it possesses multiple special skills, such as gravity. This shakes his confidence a bit. He's unsure if he can defeat such a monster. Doubts arise in his mind, but he refuses to let them control him. Despite the danger looming, neither he nor Venom Princess are willing to give up. They exchange a quick look and without speaking, decide to fight together. They devise a simple plan. He will go in front of the twin heads and keep their attention, while Venom Princess will hide in a tree and wait for the right moment to attack. He moves forward and attacks first, testing the monster's strength. Twin Head immediately responds and counterattacks with full force. The counter is so strong that he is pushed back and forced to retreat to regain his balance. Before he can even react, Blue Head suddenly opens his mouth and begins casting magic. A glowing magic circle forms beneath him, and the gravity around him increases dramatically in an instant. Just when it seems he's completely trapped, Venom Princess moves from her hiding spot. She throws poison-laced clay at Dark Twin Head. This attack interrupts the spell and the gravity effect disappears. He breaks free. As soon as he regains control of his body, he jumps into the air with all his remaining strength. He unleashes baby breath directly on Twin Head and hits him head-on. He thinks this attack will destroy the monster, but shockingly, Twin Head regenerates its health before his eyes, because in that short exchange, he learned an important lesson. Now he clearly understands that Blue Head wields magic, and Red Head uses physical attacks. With this knowledge, he knows his next move will be smarter and more focused. Without slowing down, he rushes straight towards Twin Head. Red Head lunges forward and bites him. Pain spreads throughout his body, but he doesn't scream. This was exactly what he planned. While Red Redhead remains focused on biting him. He twists his body and with all his might delivers a swift and powerful uppercut directly at Bluehead. The attack lands perfectly. Bluehead loses his balance. This small opening is enough for Venom Princess. She jumps from her hiding place and bites Bluehead, a direct poison bite. Twinhead cries out in pain and immediately activates his regeneration skill. At first, it seems his wounds are healing, but then something strange happens. Despite the flash regeneration, the monster's HP continues to drop. The poison proves to be far stronger than his healing ability. Seeing this, he feels real confidence for the first time. He becomes completely convinced that this battle is theirs. Suddenly, Twinhead does something unexpected. The poison spreads only to Bluehead's side. To prevent it from spreading further, Redhead bites hard and completely separates Bluehead from his body. With Bluehead gone, the monster can no longer use magic. But this relief is short-lived. He realizes that sacrificing one of his heads is Twinhead's special ability. Bluehead, separated from his body, remains alive. He falls to the ground and immediately begins to move on his own. Without wasting any time, he turns to Venom Princess and begins chasing her. He rushes to save her, but Redhead blocks his path. He is forced to stop and fight. Redhead attacks with full force. He swings hard and repeatedly tries to bite. He responds with slow movements, sharp counters, and refuses to retreat. The fight doesn't last long. Using his experience and perfect timing, he finds an opening and unleashes his Nutcracker technique. The attack lands perfectly. Redhead's life is lost forever. Silence falls all around, but his heart starts pounding again. He remembers the other head. Panic fills him when he realizes that Venom Princess is still in danger. She is his only friend in this world. He searches desperately. After what seems like a very long time, he finally sees movement. Venom Princess crawls out from behind a bush. She is badly wounded but alive. Suddenly, Bluehead appears from behind. He jumps straight at him to finish him off. He reacts without thinking. Using only his bare hands, he grabs Bluehead and crushes him with all his might. The danger is gone forever. When everything is finally over, he runs towards Venom Princess. He pulls her into his arms and holds her tightly. He tells her that he no longer cares about being human. He says he is happy being a dragon just so he can be with her. At that very moment, the system voice echoes in his mind. It announces his new stat increase. Then she adds a final message. She reveals that he has unlocked human transformation. Hearing this, his eyes widen in shock. Meanwhile, in the village, the Maria is helping Mariel, as adventurers from Guilt are expected to arrive today. Outsiders rarely visit the village, so the Maria was quite curious about them. Then his eyes fell on a very old-looking book on the table. Mariel told her it was a monster encyclopedia that he might like. Immediately, the Mara opened the book and began reading about the F-rank monster, the Dark Worm. Mariel explained that the ranks of monsters are written in an ancient script that no one can read anymore. F-rank monsters are very weak, and even beginner adventurers can defeat them with a little courage. However, defeating D-rank monsters requires experienced adventurers. The two-headed monster that the main character defeated was a D+ rank monster. Monsters that are B rank or higher are so strong that only heroes and saints can defeat them. The rock dragon that his party went to hunt is considered a C-rank monster, but Mariel believes he's gotten stronger after evolving. This frightens Maria. Just then, two adventurers arrive to investigate. A few minutes earlier, furry girl Yuno and blonde knight Melcia were heading to Mariel's house. On the way, Yuno asked Melcia why she took on a C-rank mission with just the two of them, as it could be difficult. She said she should have waited for the rest of the party to arrive. But Melcia insisted it would be easier with just the two of them, as she could escape if things got worse. Yuno wasn't confident about her speed. She joked that it was racist if Melcia thought she was fast only because she had a dog part. Then she realized Melcia was talking about using her as a decoy. Melcia told her to relax, saying she was just joking. Their mission was to search the forest. No fighting monsters, so it's easier than the difficulty ranking. Now in the present, both are inside Mariel's house and about to begin their investigation. Arriving inside Mariel's house, Melcia and Yuno are surprised to see an elf in a human village. Mariel reveals that she isn't a full elf, but rather half-elf and half-human, and has been living in the village for a long time. Then Maria brings tea for the guests. Mariel tells her to go outside for a while because she doesn't want to discuss the mission details in front of her. Melcia then asks which human they need to find. Mariel recounts how Dawes went missing during the mission and later, a drunk man from the village said he saw him somewhere. Mariel requests that they find the truth behind the rumors and prevent the Maria from venturing into the forest alone again. After some time, Melcia and Yuno head off into the forest. Meanwhile, in the main character's cave inside the forest, he is applying medicinal ointments to Poison Princess's wounds to help her heal faster. Poison Princess is asleep due to her injuries and exhaustion. So the main character decides to leave her there and go out. He tells himself that he's going to check his stats, but in reality, he wants to test his transformation skills so he can go to the human village and see her again. Reaching the river, he thinks how ironic it is that he has the human transformation skill, when before he thought he didn't need it. Now he's worried about whether he'll be able to live among humans without appearing suspicious. He also doesn't want to be separated from the poison princess and wonders if there might be a middle ground where he can get the best of both worlds. Instead of overthinking, he activates the human transformation skill. He feels his body being pushed and pulled in different directions until his shape becomes human, but he's disappointed because he still looks like a scary monster. He angrily interrupts and asks the system if this is a human transformation. As usual, he's told that the truth is hidden behind a paywall. Hearing this, he becomes even more frustrated. The next day, the main character wakes up. He's in a bad mood due to past events. He himself starts chewing on jerky to get up, and then an idea comes to him. He calls the poison princess and asks for a favor. He says he wants to teach the monkeys who steal his jerky a lesson. Therefore, he needs a strong poison that has no color, smell, or taste. The poison princess pours poison into a pot that looks exactly like water. The main character laughs menacingly and dips a new batch of jerky in the poison and hangs it up to dry. He waits for the ugly monkeys, but they take their time. While waiting, the main character and the poison princess take a nap. After a while, the next screech of the monkeys is heard. The main character wakes up to see that one monkey has eaten the poison jerky and foam is coming out of its mouth. The other monkeys try to wake him up. The main character is delighted, but knows this isn't enough. He and Poison Princess attack the monkeys together. The monkeys, enraged, surround the main character and launch a combo attack. The main character also launches a combo attack. He signals Poison Princess, who throws clay shards, surprising the monkeys. Seizing the opportunity, the main character hits them hard with his tail. But the fight isn't over. The monkeys emit high-pitched whistles, causing the main character and Poison Princess to become dizzy. The main character wonders what skill this is. Just then, a powerful ape rushes toward them. The main character realizes the monkeys have summoned their boss because they can't defeat themselves. The boss ape appears tough and menacing. The main character checks its stats and finds that they are almost equal. But boss ape has skills that can buff his underlings. As boss ape uses his skills to strengthen the monkeys, the main character launches a fire attack to end the fight quickly. But he's too late. The minion monkeys combine their skills to form a huge wall that blocks the fire attack. They then attack the main character from all sides. Their speed and strength have increased, making them difficult to handle. Poison Princess tries to support him, but Boss Ape grabs her and throws her into a tree. The main character manages to catch her, but she's unconscious. The main character realizes that the longer the fight continues, the more problems will arise. He decides to go back to basics and asks the system about Boss Ape. He decides to try to communicate before the fight. To do so, he takes an unconscious monkey hostage. The other monkeys want to attack again, but the Boss Ape stops them. He uses his telepathy skill and speaks directly into the main character's brain. The boss ape is interested in the main character because he can see his stats. He asks what he wants. The main character explains that the unconscious monkey has been poisoned and will die if nothing is done. The poison princess has the antidote. In exchange for this deal, the main character wants the boss ape to withdraw his clan. But boss ape replies that the main character is a huge threat and must be eliminated immediately. Otherwise, he will become even stronger. The main character says that if a full-fledged fight happens, everyone could die. But Boss Ape's philosophy is different. In his clan, it's considered right to let the weak die in battle so that the strong can survive and prosper. The main character realizes that bargaining won't work, then he gets another idea. He challenges Boss Ape to a duel as a clan leader. Boss Ape explains that duels are usually held between leaders of different ape classes or when an alpha is challenged. Although he has never dueled with any other monster species, the same rules apply. He accepts the main character's challenge and says that the duel is a secret, so no one will interfere until the winner is decided. Everything is cleared before the duel begins. The main character asks for an antidote to the poison monkey. As soon as the poison princess gives it, the other monkeys immediately capture the poison princess and the unconscious monkey. The main character angrily asks what they're doing. Boss explains that he's just ensuring that Poison Princess follows the rules of the duel. She'll be released after the fight is over. Both fighters step forward and the duel officially begins. Immediately, Boss Ape overwhelms the main character with powerful blows. His punches are so heavy that the ground shakes. The main character repeatedly rolls and dodges attacks. Boss shouts, "If you've started a duel, don't run away. Get in front and fight." The main character realizes that he can't always dodge, so he launches a counterattack. He quickly rolls toward the boss, pushing him back. Then he jumps and swings his tail with full force. The hit is so powerful that the ground cracks beneath the boss's feet. The main character repeatedly hits the boss's head, confusing it for a moment. However, the boss immediately creates a rock wall that blocks the main character's path. The boss then climbs the wall and uses his skill, investing all his mana in agility. Now the boss is many times faster than before, making it difficult to predict the main character's moves. Within seconds, the main character is thrown to the ground. The main character decides to fight head-on. He taunts the ape boss, telling him to fight face-on if he's not afraid. This taunt hits the proud ape. Both charge and deliver powerful punches. The entire forest is shaken. Poison Princess and the other monkeys watch the fight from the sidelines. After a few minutes, both fighters are exhausted. Both are injured and breathing heavily. The main character decides to put all his remaining power into a final punch. He punches with all his might, hitting Boss Ape first. At that moment, the system informs him that his Dragon Punch skill has leveled up. The main character thinks he's won, but then Boss Ape launches a final counterattack and the powerful hit knocks him down. Both of them fall to the ground. Everything is quiet for a moment. When the main character opens his eyes, he sees Poison Princess leaning over him. The system informs him that the main character has defeated Boss Ape and he has been awarded the title of Clan Boss. At that very moment, a divine voice echoes in his mind. He realizes that he has gained 162 experience points and has now reached level 39. When he regains consciousness a few hours later, he is completely confused as to where he is. He looks around and is astonished to find himself back inside the same cave. Slowly, he remembers that he did indeed defeat that giant orangutan. He looks at Venom Princess. A slight, satisfied smile appears on her face. Seeing this, he realizes that she must have brought him back to the cave in an unconscious state. He smiles slightly and they both celebrate their victory for a while. But then, when he looks around, he is suddenly startled. Standing before him is the same group of monkeys who were formerly subordinates of the Boss Ape. For a moment, it occurs to him that they might have come to avenge their leader's death. His body becomes alert again. But the next moment, the entire scene changes. Instead of attacking, they all start cheering loudly. They jump with joy as if celebrating the victory of a hero. He is completely confused. He can't understand how their behavior has suddenly changed. Curious, he checks his status screen. He's even more shocked to see that he's received a new title, Clan Boss. Now he understands everything. After defeating the boss, he's automatically been designated the new boss. Venom Princess, seeing this, immediately becomes hostile. She glares angrily at the monkeys as if about to attack them, but he immediately stops her and tells her to calm down. He explains that this situation could actually be beneficial for them. If these monkeys now recognize him as their boss, they could be useful to them in the future. New plans begin to form in his mind. He's no longer just a fighter but a leader, and this new responsibility is about to take his journey to a whole new level. He secretly thinks this situation could prove to be very beneficial for him. He decides to use the monkeys as gaffers, taking care of the small errands and daily tasks. This will save him and Venom Princess from having to do every little thing themselves. As he spends time with the monkeys, Venom Princess begins to feel jealous, but he remains completely unaware of this. Now he realizes that now that there are more people in the cave, more food storage space is needed, and pots will be essential for storing food. The next day he starts making pots. A monkey watches him closely with great curiosity. With a slight smile he says, "Watch carefully and learn." Then he starts shaping a new pot from clay. He notices that the monkey's fingers are quite nimble, so perhaps he can do it even better than them. After finishing the demo, he tells Kane, "Now you try it out," and gives him the entire ceramics job. When he comes out, he sees Venom Princess trying to make a clay pot on her own. He casually remarks that it would be more difficult with her arms and legs. He meant it to be practical, but Venom Princess misunderstands him. She becomes embarrassed and quietly walks away. He stands there confused. He also notices that Venom Princess has been behaving a little strangely lately, but he doesn't know the real reason. Meanwhile, Melcia and Yuno are sitting in a diner. They are having drinks and waiting for their crew. It gets late, but no one arrives. Both of them start to worry. Melcia remains calm and explains to Yuno that the others will return after completing their current requests. Back in the cave, he wakes up the next morning. Venom Princess greets him. He tries to get up, but his body feels heavy. Upon closer inspection, he discovers several monkeys sleeping on top of him. He tries to shake them off, but none of them wake up. Finally, he gives up and lies down again. A few minutes later, he suddenly awakens to a disturbing scene, a monkey lying on the ground, weak and pleading for help. He immediately uses his appraisal scale. He realizes that Venom Princess has poisoned him. He is filled with anger. He immediately demands an antidote. At first, she refuses and turns away. He demands it again in a stern voice. After repeated requests, she finally relents and gives him the antidote. Then she gives the monkey the antidote. Gradually, his condition begins to improve. When the situation stabilizes, he approaches Venom Princess and calmly asks her why she did this. She remains silent for a moment, then admits that the monkey's arrival is the reason. She had been feeling neglected ever since. She felt he wasn't giving her the same attention as before. Hearing this, he realizes that perhaps she really ignored his feelings. He apologizes profusely and says they should spend some time together. He suggests that the next day, just the two of them go on a hunting trip for quality time. Hearing this, Venom Princess is delighted and immediately agrees. Meanwhile, Maria notices that it's been several days since the adventurers returned from the forest, with no news. She becomes worried and decides not to wait any longer. She prepares to search the forest herself. The next day, he and Venom Princess head out for a hunting date. He seems genuinely excited. He enjoys the fresh air and the opportunity to hunt, but Venom Princess doesn't seem entirely happy. Soon, the reason becomes clear. He's brought the monkeys along. This is normal for him, but Venom Princess was thinking this time would be just for the two of them. The monkeys are enthusiastically enjoying the outing. Venom Princess quietly walks ahead alone. After a while, he senses danger nearby. Suddenly, two forest wolves emerge from behind the trees, ready to pounce on them. He thinks it will be a simple fight that they can handle together. But before he can take action, the monkeys advance. With excellent coordination, they quickly defeat the wolves. The fight ends almost instantly. Now he and Venom Princess are left standing there with nothing left to do. The monkeys are happily roaming around and the atmosphere becomes a little awkward. They are rejoicing in their victory, but Venom Princess begins to feel more and more lonely inside. She feels that her value is no longer the same. Meanwhile, Mara ventures further into the forest than she had planned. Walking through the dense trees, she realizes that she has ventured further than she should. The surrounding area seems completely unfamiliar. A slight fear creeps into her heart. She thinks it would be better to turn back. Just as she decides to turn back, she sees Dawes walking in the distance. Seeing him brings her some relief. She calls out his name and moves to catch him. But before he can get close, a strange creature suddenly appears before her. A creature she's never seen before. Its presence is so overwhelming that Mara freezes in fear. At that moment, our hero is returning to the cave with Venom Princess. He apologizes for giving the monkeys too much attention lately. He explains that he's technically their boss now and has certain responsibilities. He can't ignore them. Still, he admits her anger is justified. To appease her, he promises that the next hunting trip will be just for the two of them with no monkeys accompanying. Upon hearing this, Venom Princess becomes overjoyed. She jumps on him in joy and starts licking him. It's clear she wants him all for herself. They're both enjoying the moment when suddenly, a loud scream echoes through the forest. The sound seems familiar to him. He immediately recognizes it's Maria's voice. He realizes he's in danger again. Without wasting any time, he separates from Venom Princess and starts rolling at full speed toward the scream. He tells her to stay put, but Venom Princess doesn't want to let him go alone. She tries to roll after him. Unfortunately, her rolling skills are too low. She loses balance and hits a rock. Her HP is reduced by more than half. He stops for a moment to check on her condition and confirms that she's still alive. He's upset but knows he can't stop. He reassures her that his feelings haven't changed. He just wants to save Maria. Then he charges forward with all his might. Meanwhile, Mara is surrounded by 3 wolves. She's almost about to fall prey to them when our hero arrives just in time. As he arrives, he slams one of the wolves to the ground. Then he immediately stands in front of Mara and shields her. Just then, a divine voice reveals that these are dank monsters called Mahawolf. They have a third eye on their forehead that transmits visual signals to the rest of the pack. This is why they hunt with perfect coordination. The wolves slowly form a circle and begin to approach. At first glance, they appear to be normal dank monsters, but when he carefully examines their stats, he realizes something different. A strange aura surrounds him, indicating he's stronger than a normal wolf of the same rank. Suddenly, the wolves attack him in unison, but he quickly uses baby breath and burns one of them to ashes. The other 2 try to attack from the side, but he swiftly strikes them in the face with his fists, knocking them both out. The fight ends there. He then tries to approach Mara slowly. But as expected, she is frightened by the sight of him. She retreats to a tree. She becomes suspicious of his intentions. But then she remembers that a dragon had saved her and her friends before. Gradually, she realizes that this is the same dragon who helped her earlier. Gathering courage, she stands up and tries to talk to him. When she sees that he's not hostile and is truly protecting her, her trust grows. In that moment, a silent understanding forms between them. They become allies. But the danger isn't over yet, and more wolves begin to surround them, closing in on them. He immediately stands in front of Mara and tells her to stay behind him. Now she trusts him completely. She quickly climbs onto his back. He stands ready to break the circle and take her to safety. The wolves are ready to attack, and he is ready to move forward with all his might. This is where the episode ends.